I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Like our perspective.
Well, hello and hello and hello. I'm so glad to be with you guys this evening. I just wanted to touch base on a couple of news articles that I thought were a little unique, not very unique. I mean, there's things that are going on right now. And so it's not as if we haven't heard these stories. I just thought that it was really unique because the juxtaposition of both of these stories hitting around the same time, one is clearly overlapping the other. And that is what's going on right now in New York. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. It's all this big scuttlebutt about, the alleged sexual harassment accusations with the governor. And so I just thought to myself, whoa, wait a minute. Weren't we dealing with another story just recently? Whatever happened to that? I mean, have we buried the story? Is the story not coming back around? Are we not going to hear anything else? Hey, Valiant One, how are you? It's so good to see you. So it just appeared to me to be a little much. So what I wanted to do was go over that. So the first story is about the sexual harassment scandal. Now, one would say, well, gee, I mean, it's probably nothing. I mean, you're probably making a big deal out of it. This is something that needs to be talked about. Why would anybody want to just, have this story cover up the other one? I mean, this guy is really, allegedly tampering with women or whatnot. But let's listen to the first story. And then after that, we're going to go into the other one. And then we're going to weigh both stories, because to me, it would seem feasible that, yeah, somebody would want to go on ahead and forget about what was going on to their own detriment. And in this case, that's what it appears is going on. So the sexual harassment scandal engulfing Governor Andrew Cuomo escalated on Wednesday with the emergence of allegations that he'd reached under a young woman's blouse, an aide's blouse, and groped her while they were alone in a room inside of the executive mansion in Albany. The incident allegedly unfolded after the much younger woman was summoned to help the 63-year-old governor fix a cell phone, allegedly. Okay. The woman told him to stop. And this was reported to the Albany Times newspaper. So she said to them, I told him to stop. The accusations are the most serious made yet. Cuomo, who's previously been hit with claims of sexual harassment and other inappropriate behavior by 5 other women, 4 of whom were all his previous aides or his aides at the time. So each one of the old aides complained about it, and those are the women that we're hearing about. However, the latest accusers said the incident took place late last year after Cuomo shut the door to a room on the second floor of the governor's heavily guarded official residence. This also was reported to the Times Union. The woman also said it followed frequent flirting by Cuomo. So he continued to, after doing that to her, continued to flirt. So the paper, which said that it was withholding the woman's identity, said that her account was relayed by a person with direct knowledge of her claims. The woman recounted the alleged incident to at least one female supervisor in the executive chamber on March 3rd after watching the news conference at which Cuomo claimed, quote, I never touched anyone inappropriately, end quote. Now, that news conference marked the first time that Cuomo had appeared in public since the multiple allegations against him began to emerge. But at a point at which only three of the accusers had come forward. Now, Cuomo's latest accuser has filed a formal complaint. Not as yet. She has not. Now, she has not filed a formal complaint as yet, which to me is sort of like, why even say anything if you're not going to have a formal complaint? But it says that she's not done one. So I probably would have just, waited, got my lawyer and went ahead and went to the police department and did what I needed to do. But nonetheless, she has not filed one. And so at least one of her supervisors was told, and that's what her attorney said. But in response to Wednesday's report, former Cuomo aide Lindsey Boylan, whose online essay last month unleashed the torrent of allegations against the governor, tweeted, quote, you need to resign. You need to go at NY.gov end quote. Boylan also demanded that members of the state assembly, including Speaker Carl Heastie, say, as she says, quote, put on your big kid pants and start the process of impeachment, end quote. Now, while I was reading this, I thought to myself, I wonder what happened with the other story. I wonder what happened. And then some would possibly say, well, what other story are you talking about? Well, here's the other story, because to me, yeah, you might want people to forget about this. Now, here is what the rub is. This was published a day ago, and it is from Fox News. Well, it says families of the nursing home victims demand that Cuomo forfeit money from his book deal. Now, you all remember that he had a book deal, and apparently the book deal was pretty hefty. And I think what's going on now is they're saying, I'm glad you're back, Valiant One. I think what they're saying now is, well, hey, the deal is we want the money because a lot of people passed away. So now you think about it. All those people passed on. They fudged the numbers. It seemed like it was getting hot in here. It's getting hotter here. This is what it's feeling like to him. Getting pretty hot. We got to get the heat off of me. Well, because the number of deaths that they claim happened a whole lot hotter than these chicks, right? All right. So the family members of New York seniors who died after contracting the coronavirus while in nursing homes told Fox News that they believe New York Governor Andrew Cuomo should donate the money he received from his book, the 2020 book, American Crisis, Leadership Lessons from the COVID-19 Pandemic. That's end quote. That's a quote there. Quote, the best case scenario is the profits go to a fund for the grieving families. There should be a fund set up. They have a 9/11 memorial losing in New York State 15,000 of our most vulnerable and cherished residents, family members. We need a memorial, and that should go to fund the memorial. And that was a quote from Daniel Arbini, who said that his 89-year-old father died because of the coronavirus as it was introduced into a nursing home that he was staying in. And he made that statement again to Fox News. A book publisher paid him seven figures, and that was all based on a lie. So his pandemic response caused the deaths of thousands of nursing home patients that don't have a voice, Arbini continued. Now, Cuomo's book sold for the low to mid seven figures, a blockbuster sum. Vanity Fair reported on Monday. However, Crown Publishing Group said on Monday that it's paused the active support of the title due to a federal investigation and his administration's handling of the state's nursing home crisis, according to a report. Sales of Cuomo's book, American Crisis Leadership Lessons from the COVID-19 Pandemic, have noticeably declined in recent weeks as scrutiny of the governor intensified. So when I look at the story now with him and this whole, woman after woman, the popcorn effect, it's a distraction to me. And do I think that somebody would literally allow this distraction to maim them and to mar their whole reputation? In this case, yes, I do. So that's just my perspective on both stories. My perspective is that yes, he would most assuredly allow this other story to go ahead and escalate and get big and blown up, because didn't you forget about the poor people that had passed on? I mean, for a split second. You know what I mean? There's a lot of us who probably would say, no, 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 I remember. And yes, I'm sure we do in the recesses of our mind. But when you're listening to a story by these women come out and say all the things that he's done, well, you mean, he's been known to be a little freaky deek for a little while. I mean, that's not something that's new, right? I don't think it's new at all. So it would stand to reason that, yeah, he is sacrificing himself for a split second to prevent the heat from being on him. That's exactly what he's doing. So when I looked at that, I thought to myself, yeah, I don't think you're going to be off the hook that easy, buddy. I just don't think so. I really don't. So when you think about that, I mean, that's really sad. And so the Cuomo aides rewrote the nursing home report altogether to hide the higher toll. The higher number was written and it was specifically given so that people would not know the truth. The number more than 9,000 by the point of June were given. It was not public. And the governor's most senior aides wanted to keep it that way. Now, this story is coming out of the New York Times. They're even giving him a good one. Well, there's a lot of people who lost family members there, just regular folks who live in New York, on a regular basis. So these people lost their family members and they should make sure that they make a statement. They all should. And I think that's another reason. 15,000 people passed on, according to the actual numbers that they were able to glean. Now, I don't know, but it may be that more numbers might come out. And if that's the case, this is far more egregious. Not that, sexual abuse is not something that's egregious because or heinous. That is a heinous situation. But when you juxtapose that to this, they're both terrible and they should both be dealt with. This right here, this ain't no joke. So the extraordinary intervention, which came just as Mr. Cuomo was starting to write a book on his pandemic achievements, was the earliest act yet known in what the critics have called a months long effort by the governor and his aides to obscure the full scope of the nursing home deaths. After the state attorney general revealed earlier this year that thousands of deaths of nursing home residents had been uncounted, Mr. Cuomo finally released the complete data, saying that he had withheld it out of concern that the Trump administration might pursue it a politically motivated inquiry. Now, I'm going to correct them because I specifically remember it being not him who said it, but his assistant, which is pretty much the same as him saying it, right? It's definitely the same as him saying it, but we need to keep stuff in perspective. And it was her that said it. She said it based on the story that we read together last month. But they were concerned that they were going to politically use this inquiry to strike out against him. Well, who really cares? What you think was going to happen. You're supposed to tell the truth, buddy. And he didn't. Hey, Ronnie man, how's it going? You know what I mean? So I just feel like this whole thing, Anarchy Television, how's it going? This whole thing just smells to high heaven. The whole entire thing. just stinks to high heaven. And so it would appear that that is the purpose of hiding all of this stuff, is just to keep it all under wraps and to keep stuff going, because their goal is to take your eyes off of the fact that all of these people died last year. And he was hailing himself a hero, very smug, hailing himself a hero, acting as if there was nothing to see here. That's exactly what bothers me. There's just nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. So we're going to move along into another story, because this right here is another big hot rump mess that we've gotten ourselves into. And it's dealing specifically with what's coming across the border. This isn't good. No, it isn't. So the migrant president is what they're calling our president. Here you go. The Mexican government is concerned that President Biden's asylum policies are encouraging illegal immigration and providing revenue to drug cartels through human trafficking across the U.S. border. This story comes directly from the New York Post. Mexico has asked the Biden administration for help to provide developmental aid to Central America, since many of the migrants that are coming across the border are coming from countries such as Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala. They're all seeking asylum here in the United States. Now this is the president that is over there in Mexico, and I'm going to quote him. He said, quote, "They see him as the migrant president, and so many feel that they're going to reach the United States." Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador said of Biden after their virtual meeting on March the 1st. He continues, "We need to work together to regulate the flow, because this business can't be tackled from one day to the next," he added. Now, some of Biden's policies that worry the Mexican government, which include the fast track citizenship. It's a fast track to citizenship that's got them a little concerned. And it's for the migrants that are living in the United States, and support of gang violence victims. Internal assessments that was reviewed by the Reuters. Again, this link will be down below once we edit this. Based on testimony and intelligence gathered, state that Mexican gangs have been growing their clientele and keeping tabs on U.S. measures that would encourage migration. Additionally, they have developed a new tracking system to move migrants across the U.S. Mexico border. One Mexican official who requested anonymity told one of the magazines, or one of the newspapers, I should say, Reuters, that the cartels have been using sophisticated smuggling methods from the day that Biden took office. Those strategies include keeping migrants up to date with the latest immigration rules, using technology to thwart authorities, and disguising smuggling operations as travel agencies, according to the assessments. Reuters has also reported that plastic wristbands, some labeled arrivals or entry in Spanish, were seen discarded near Pinellas, Texas, after illegal immigrants crossed the border. Migrants have become a commodity, the official told the outlet, and they continued, "But if a packet of drugs is lost at sea, it's just gone. If migrants are lost, it's human beings we're talking about," end quote. So I really don't know what this cat's goal is. I just honestly don't. It just appears to me to be that, okay, we're just going to go in here and just undo. We're going to untie the bow tie of the last cat that was, right? So it's pretty concerning to me. Now, there are a lot of people who are saying, well, they want to come here for a better life. But this president just got through saying, hey, and I'm just going to give a summary here. You're not necessarily getting what you think you're getting. And that they need help because the folks that are coming across are not necessarily some of the best. Arlene Verdida, hello, how are you? Welcome, welcome. So it's very concerning to me that these are the kinds of things that are going on. And then it's also concerning that in another story, dealing with really close to the Mexican border, what's going on in California. Now, we all talked about this last week before I took my mini vacation, and we were chatting briefly about what was going on with their children going back to school. Now, you go from being a state that was completely asleep. Nobody was doing anything. Nobody was going anywhere. They had sanction after sanction being placed on all of its citizens. And when you consider that, you have to ask the question, what's really going on right now? Why is it all of a sudden very popular to get the kids back in school by April? That's a good question. It's a good question. Why are we now pushing by April? Everybody's got to go by April. I didn't hear anything about stores opening or people being able to move freely about the state. I didn't hear anything about that. But I really want to ask the question, and I really do need to do a little digging. How much are they getting paid for using the test that's coming from Microsoft? What's the kickback? Because everything is motivated by funds. If you look at it in reality. And so my question is, how much is Newsom or anybody, again, a question. Okay. This isn't even it's not somebody that's just throwing stuff out there. I'm not being reckless. I'm just trying to understand because this cat is really moving at an unbelievable pace to get this thing pushed through. He's making sure that everything is above board, that everybody is out there getting, and these poor children and the poor parents that are really not up on what's actually going on. I can only imagine how they feel. But I always say this, and that is that, it's a whole host of putting your thinking cap on. It really is. Because when you consider the fact that this is a dormant person who was very dormant, the state was dormant, everything about them was dormant. They had so many people running around wearing those things on their faces that a lot of the people who are now sick there was specifically because of one thing. That's pneumonia. Okay. Now all of a sudden, let's just get it going. So I think there's some money going on. I need to try to dig around. I need to try to retch around. I need to try to dig around into my Felix bag of tricks and try to find this information because there has to be some type of kickback or some type of even here's some shares or here's something. So let's get everybody up to speed. So, of course, they're going to be doing the passport there for the children. Primarily, that's just going to be the name I'm using it for right now. So basically, when the child goes to school prior to going, he or she will go online. They'll, book their appointment for their testing date. They'll get the test. The test will come back. They'll get this little certificate or a little QR code. The QR code clears them for that week. But we're talking about sticking children in the nose, in the nostril, up to the somebody said, oh, it's not the blood-brain barrier. Why isn't it? That's a very short distance. It's a very short distance. Sure it is. What is the brain, 13 inches away from the tip of the nostril? Is that what people love to say? Oh, no, there's a lot of stuff going around saying that that's not, that this is just a conspiracy situation. It's not true. It takes a whole lot to get there. You're a liar. So now we got these poor children going to school, and every week they got to get that done. This is criminal. It's absolutely criminal. And these poor children are going to be subject to it. So there's that. Let's take a quick roll call and say hey to everybody that I haven't already greeted or everybody that I have greeted. Valiant One, hello. Ronnie said, hey. And then Anarchy Television, how have you been, my friend? So good to see you. And again, we have Arlene Verdida. How are you? Glad to have you here. Pyramid of 7. Pyramid 7. Pyramid 7. Hi. How's it going? It says lots of folks losing their assets. A lot. Awesome, Alice. It's so good to see you. Oh, finally caught you on. Hey, beautiful soul, and other beautiful, handsome people in the stream. And hello to you too. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad that you are here as well. Let's see. We got a couple of comments here. Follow the money, absolutely. Awesome, Alice said, "Did you see the nursing home where they got the cocktail and all now are positive. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible." And then you go on to say, they're a big piece of cartilage. Huh? There's a big piece of cartilage in between. But, oh, okay, yes. But if they have it to control won't bleed the nose. Yes, and I did see that about the bloody noses. I did see that. Yep. So yeah, so those are just a few of the things that I think are amazing. Oh, I like your new thumbnail, Awesome Alice. That is so cute. I like that. I like that. That's awesome. I like it. So yeah, I just think that it's sort of sad. I just think we're just getting out of hand. This whole coming across the border thing is really not what it's cracked up to be. Let me let you see some of the pictures and make sure I get that photo there. Want you guys to look at the picture of this. I mean, and they're always saying, "Oh well, it's just children." Those are men. I don't know if you can see that or not. Those are men. Those are not women and children. Those are men who are young enough to come and work, young enough to come up, start some mess. Those are all dudes. These are not females. It says that migrants walk on the train tracks on their journey from Central America to the U.S. border on February 10th, 2021. Those are not young women. Those are not children. Those are men. Yeah, they're men, right? That's exactly what we see. So I have a problem with that. And I don't know what's going to happen. I know that, anyway, we're going to leave that there because I don't know if people understand accountability and that this person should be held accountable for all of the stuff that's coming in. And then they were doing the whole catch and release thing, and that to me is just as bad as them coming in. Catch them and releasing them is just as bad as them coming and just it's all bad. It all stinks to high heaven. Send everybody back and or prevent them from coming across. Of course, we know that we can't go across the border and do anything because then that is considered an act of the group war. Remember that group? It was an old group. Yeah, it's considered an act of war to shoot across or do anything like that across. And so we don't want anything like that, but we certainly do not want this. And those are not women. But see, the story they like to sell to us is it's just women and children and families that are coming here for a better life. No, it's not. That's a mess going on. And it's all done to blur the lines here in the States. All of it's done to blur the lines, right? It is. So anyway, folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I just wanted to thank you guys for stopping in with me. I just wanted to come on and share this because I just thought, gee whiz, I don't know if everybody realizes that to me, what we're doing is just switching out one story for another with Cuomo. We're going to switch out that other one, but please do not allow that to blur your mind. Do not allow that. Keep your mind focused on the fact that those people passed on. That's 15,000 people. And I'm not saying the young lady situation ain't bad. What I'm saying is, isn't it convenient? Isn't it convenient? Mama Bear and Papa Bear, hey, how are you? It's so good to see you. Yeah, right? So now let's see. Awesome Alice says, let's see what we got here. It was missing the jab. My son nose bled after he had his first test because he got sick and he couldn't figure it. So they did oh wow. The rest of the test came back and it was strep. After that, no more tests. Yeah, I can't say that I blame you. I can't say that I blame you. You need to draw the line somewhere. And now that you know that it isn't, you don't have to do that again at all. Just let it go, keep them hydrated and all that good stuff. I don't know how the schools are in other places, but they're still doing a lot of sending out phone messages if one of the children at the school here in Alabama end up with it. I don't know about all areas of Alabama, but I do know that they're calling out now, oh, this person's sick, and that they don't give the names, obviously, but they'll tell you, oh, this person's sick, and I'm just thinking, you know what? Give me back my kids, which is where I'm very close to going within the next couple of weeks here. Just give me my children and we'll handle it from here. Because you can do a lot. Maybe Papa can teach the boys how to fix cars, and, maybe somebody else in the neighborhood can teach them how to do something else and teach them how to do different trades and things of that nature. Maybe, and then, do the math, and then you do your English, and then you take them on, excursions and social studies and things of that nature that get the child involved and make them more well-rounded, because at least what's going on around them, who's around them, all that. And that's one of my prayers, is that what we get out of this situation is a lot closer and a lot back to the way that we should be, the more family accountability. I really do, for the believers anyway. I mean, there's a lot of folks who simply don't care, and they're just trying to make it like everybody else. But for us, we need to really start to think outside the box on how we can take care of our families on so many different levels. We talked about the seeds last week before I went out of town. And, the seeds are really a good thing to get if you can get them. And then, of course, you need to make sure that you've got some pretty wholesome soil to put them down into. But that's one aspect. And making sure that you can possibly barter if you had to. But we definitely need to start to take control of our own lives. Take control of our own lives completely. That's what I think. So we're going to go ahead and read the rest of these, and then we're going to be out. I want to thank you guys for the last 31 minutes with me. It's been a blessing, and I sure appreciate you. Maynard Els, hey, how are you? How are you? It's good to see you. Anthony Van Zandt, it's so awesome to see you. Evening all. Okay, it's so good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see what else we got going here. It looks like that's about it. But it's great to be around great people like you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn in for the evening. We had a very long trip back, but bless the Most High, we're back and all safe. And so that's a good thing. All right, folks. So if you did not get all of this, I want you guys to go ahead and look at the replay. We touched on a couple of stories, obviously the Cuomo aides that really said, hey, look, this guy was touching and feeling on me. And my point was, but what do we do about the story for the nursing homes? Okay. I know that you guys say he touched and felt on you, but from what I understand, this is what this was just always been his mode of operation. His modus operandi has been thus. So let's not forget the 15,000 people. Okay. Let's not forget them. All right, folks. Remember what we always say here on our show, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. You guys take care of one another, and I'll see you soon. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way, helping you to make it through another day.